What's up guys, BD Wiz, oldschoolstereo.com. Today we're going to look at mid to late 90s MMATS, or is it MMATS? I don't know. We'll just go with MMATS for now. D200hc. What's the HC? High current. That's right, big power is what we're talking about here.
You big dummy.
So let's look first at a 1999 car audio electronics guide and see what this bad boy retailed for. You can see there were 3 different models in 1999. There's a D100hc, D200hc, and D300hc. And the amp you chose depended on the number of speakers you were using and the final load impedance. You can see the D200 that we're using is optimized for 1.33 ohms. And why would it be optimized for 1.33 ohms? Well, when you have 3 4-ohm subwoofers wired in parallel, that gives you 1.33 ohms. And this is a very popular configuration back in the mid to late 90s. So the 1.3 ohm final load that this amp wants is just about right. But you can see the D100 wanted the 1 ohm load and the D300 wanted a 2 ohm load in the final. But again, the price was the same, $999 US. All right, now let's take a gander at the amp here and see what it's all about as far as the inputs and outputs go. On one side, you can see the speaker outputs, and these use these, what I consider hateful Weco plugs that you can barely fit a 10 gauge wire in. Most of the time it's 12 gauge, so not very big wires there for the speaker outputs. The inputs are Tiffany style RCAs, very nice. We have a nice gain control knob. We have a few LEDs for power, protect, and thermal. And then we have a low pass crossover. On the opposite side of the amp, we just have the power terminals for ground and B+ for positive. Now these are 4 gauge inputs, and of course you could get adapters if you wanted to go 0 gauge in, but it's not really necessary. And we're going to show you the internals here video-wise of a D200. This is not the HC model. You can see it has 1 power transformer, very nicely laid out amp, a few filtering caps there, and some power supply caps. And here's the D200hc. You can see it has dual power transformers and double the cap, so essentially, about double the power for the amp. Word of warning here, don't try an amp dyno test with this amp with a 50 amp fuse. She went kapow! It made me jump. But that's just how we roll here in OSS Labs. So all the tests for this amp will be at 40 Hertz. And first up, we'll try a 2 ohm run, uncertified. 863 watts. Nice power. Then we'll do the 1.33 ohm load. Now this is where it's rated to do 1200 watts. You can see it does that, plus a little more, 1259 watts. So good job. Now we're going to run it at 1 ohm. There we go, 1333 watts. Very nice. Then we decided we'd try a dynamic run at 1 ohm, and you'll see some interesting results here. The dynamic run actually produced less power than the uncertified run. Very, very interesting. What else was interesting was the amp didn't do much power at all to 1% THD. The certified mode of the amp dyno, I was only able to get about 800 watts at 1.33 ohms to 1% distortion. Not sure if there's something wrong with the amp. I can't second guess it because I'm not an amp technician. So I'm just a guy that likes to test amps, throws them on the dyno. I don't literally throw them. I gently place them on the table and carefully connect them up.
You big dummy.
All right guys, so you have a quick test of the MMATS or MMATS D200hc. I'd shown one of these in a previous video. It was a black amp, and I actually sold that one a while back before I got all the equipment to be able to handle that large of an amplifier. I know, it's not a big amp, 1200 watts, but we're talking old school here. 1200 watts is big power back in the day. So I'm talking about 1000 watts is big power, 500 watts is big power. So there's the test of the D200hc. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Got a lot more stuff coming. Got some old amps, some new amps. I even have some stuff that aren't amplifiers. Can you believe that? Well, believe it, friends, because it's coming Big D Wiz, oldschoolstereo.com. Until next time, you guessed it, I'm out of here. You big dummy. So yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. That's how it is. That's what I'm talking about. What you talking about, Wilson? That's what I'm talking about, Wilson.